stability, how you promote peace and national cohesion, and also how you discharge your constitutional duties in the country. But also, there is another category of obligation we get, when are the international obligation, we include how you position your country among community of nations them, for make you earn respect and influence, and also how you for able do for take leadership on the global stage, on the global issues, but also how you able to gain credibility among international organizations them and donor partners them. So the UN normally this year, it's almost like it was an hybrid. So you get people away attend in person, you get people away them do their own through virtual. But the question where somebody go ask, you go ask, say, what's make actually president actually go UN for good deliver this message, which I think is important. So broadly, there are 4 key important things that will happen this year. We're different. We make president was really motivated for go to the UN or for go to America generally. Firstly, that the UN they provide a unique platform for make leaders them they able to get chance for engage themselves through bilateral relationship. So therefore, for instance, if the president for begin for see the president of Slovenia, rather than for make you travel from Freetown, you go to Slovenia, you go always nice or make you go meet in a UN. So now we get on a bilateral meeting. That is very important because part of voting president want for Ghana support for many things that we want on the UN. But the other second thing is that this year, Sierra Leone then be elected Sierra Leone as vice president of the General Assembly for the 76th session. We mean say Sierra Leone gets a key role play at the General Assembly this year. And because of this, it's really important to make you get your president, where you serve as vice president at the General Assembly, make you go there, make you go able to do engagement there with incompetence, but also make you get stature where they get the country. But the third thing is that this year as well, Salon will try for bid for make we get a seat at the non-permanent category at the UN Security Council for 2024-2025. So when you do that kind of bid there for that kind of position there, it's very important to make you president, make it they engage in company for make you Ghana support. And lastly, Salon this year we succeed for make we move an agenda item na UN General Assembly. We get for deal with access to justice for survivors of sexual violence. So when you try for move them agenda there, try for make the engagement there, if find make it go in person. So when President Bidede, we realize say it be carry boku cap them because Sierra Leone win at the chair for the G7 plus when our countries there we can together we don't transition from conflict into development, and also now the coordinator for sitting. So in the speech where you get the both thing we know say COVID still there. And in fact, last year we not be get the hunger because of COVID, but this year we get the hybrid with the COVID. So part of his speech now for make it tell the people about the global solidarity we don't put together for fight COVID. We're very important, but also that issues surrounding vaccine, very very important because remember, Salon we still around about now less than 2% of people who don't get vaccine. So president in message now that we not forget a nationalistic view towards vaccination because richer countries they will get the money we're able to invest per vaccine. Then they try for me them keep vaccine for their own people them. So poor countries them like middle income countries we not get the access, we not get the money and the financing. We they try for advocate for make we see our richer countries then go able to share part of that investment for food vaccine, so we will get access to vaccine.
Right.
But also, President in speech also talk about what you don't do, for instance, at the G7 plus, because G7 plus, like I said earlier, they deal with countries the way they transition from conflict into development. So how COVID really affect countries into way fragile. But most importantly, now for reaffirm the message of the sitting where they tell you say Security Council need for the reform. And therefore, Africa will call for permanent seats in the Security Council and non-permanent membership also at Security Council.
Right.
So I think broadly, the president try for position one Sierra Leone for make Sierra Leone look like a global leader by many things. Because if we give speech, he talk about say for the very first time also we are moving an agenda where they give access to survivors of rape. And I think say president serve as a voice for people who are victims of sexual violence, what I think is very important. So it make you all proud as a country and as a people.
All right, we can look at the specifics of the different cinema you don't make mention of as to waiting the president will go talk today. But as you start, you don't make people them don't understand why the president's been going pressing, in as much as provision been the with some heads of states and been used for you to participate in the UN General Assembly through virtual. So you don't explain to listeners them why the president's been need for the United States, because you say one of the reasons that's the opportunity for talk to other world leaders them bilateral meetings and the way the president be all. You go for cancel listeners them whose benefits come out of all them thing. But as you start yonder, let listeners them also know now how many man delegation the president been go with in the United States.
Well, normally this question can always come. How many people go per the UN delegations? This year, we remember say we used to get them the way they get probably artists that they go, different people that they go, but we try for make sure say people are where they go now, people are very relevant. So normally when we go from the presidency, we can also include some staff them back as well by the mission. So if you put them together, you understand, salon delegation, people are where they go under, you go fish na boku list. But we will come on here, we not pass actually 20.
All right. Normally, where the president can want for make such kind trip, your office don't they pull a notice for inform the general public when the president they left and the amount of people where they part of in delegation. But for few time now, where the president they make official trip, you know they come back and explain to the public where na taxpayer money president can use for do the travel there. So waiting bring the gap in communication where your office been starts where president will been just assume office.
Well, there is no gap. I think the issue is things have changed depending on the complexity of the travels. So, for instance, like I say, so when we come on here, because the president get engagements in UN, we also get engagement in Boston, where means the ministers they don't go ahead. You understand? So those ministers they will go ahead. And then ministers they were there, the complication there in terms of numbers, because obviously those ministers then they were invited by Harvard University, were different from president's own delegation, you know. So there is no breaking communication. And the only problem is that because the complexity of the travels they can make, now make will not actually put figures. But where it's necessary, you go always put figures. But I think the important thing is that it is not much the figures. It is much about what in this trip mean to Sierra Leone and what in president they bring come. So, for instance, when we go na United States, we go na Harvard. Harvard, part of what we pull come again the fact say the Bionic Center where they na MIT now they don't choose salon for benefits from a 24 million grants with NG for open a center now for give people in prosthetic limbs. What I think is very important. Equally at the same time we go, president gets engagement with GP, where GP don't say now that the Global Partnership for Education, where they don't say now, then go give Sierra Leone about 22 million for benefits for education. So therefore, it tell you say, when president they go, it is not much number where they go with. It's what not the importance of voting the president they go.
Normally, where presidents can come out and trip here, Mr. Sandi, who can get you can't talk so much about promises them, where certain world leaders them or prominent people in the world can meet to the president and make to them. But for less some of them promises there come to actuality, let the people they really see them, it can be challenging. I can use Econ in promise as a case study where it be meet with His Excellency the President talk about solar lights them and up till now then they know able for happen it. And if President they spend such kind of money for going to then kind of conferences there meet with people them, the people them money they use and they expect say wait till they go as talk about before they happen. We think can bring them delay there for bring them promises there so we wanna can come back and tell the people that this is the make the president they travel.
Well, like I say initially, when president they go, president they engage by boku in them. There are people who president they go engage when a private sector people who want invest in Sierra Leone. Because of the confidence we then get to president, then he always try to engage president for see how themselves who can contribute. So people always they engage president in good faith. It's just that sometimes when them meetings and they cannot happen, the engagements the way don't make, for instance, you talk about issue about Econ. The program starts, Econ gets good faith for come invest for do the traffic light now. But along the line, there are issues regarding the agreement. Because remember, say when you get those discussions, it starts first with understanding of what you want to do. But then una get forget a legal framework around what the policy one can do. So the policy in your investment will be protected, but also government will protect your interest. So therefore, government or president or the country not go into any agreement or any program or no say we country at the end of the day we go either pay more than necessary or we not go benefit better.
So there are two for the Econ agreement.
So the case for the issue for the Econ agreement was that when we go good faith, Econ one car for can invest, for can do the traffic light, which was very good. But then along the line, there were issues regarding the content of the agreement. Waiting for day inside the agreement. So because you not finalize the agreement there, we're not able to transition from the traffic light commitments where they make to the agreement. And you not go fault person where it travel like president for go and get somebody for come better in country. Because every president wants better in country. Well, like I say, there are challenges in terms of content of agreement, you understand? Waiting at the understanding where they forget agreement. So, but because they not finalize that one day, so that they don't put on all fours. But I think say the other issue way important in terms of the travel, and I also know say when president travel, this is the president's way because it's so financially disciplined as compared to probably other heads of state the way, for instance, where you go UN, you go charter one private flight. This is the president, anywhere they go UN, and they take commercial flight. And then commercial flight, even though it's inconvenient, because remember I say president travel per commercial flight, and like what they say you want to come from here, you want to go probably up gone.
But then they know don't they see colleague president, and for example, the new president of Zambia, now a small Qatar Airways flight he use, and he even go with 2 ministers.
No, I know they tell you say he knew, and they tell you say they talk say president is spend boku money.
All right.
So and they tell you say every time president get for save money. Because president gets conscience of this country, we will not say now somebody with good and fiscally disciplined, they save money.
All right,
so therefore, Usai at the camera, 1 minute a big. So Usai, for instance, if you spend boku money for take private jets for go UN, no, it take commercial flights, even though it's inconvenient, it gets your own security risk, but you go say no, must save this money for the people of this country.
All right, so come back to the issue of where the president can go, how beneficial NTPA can be to salon people and where now the taxpayers' money can use for go with the delegation. So you don't make mention of one pan the good thing when you say come out from one pan the engagements where the president gets for do with MIT, and we just make mention of holding meetings and making promises but actualizing them don't be challenge of them meetings, and you don't make mention of the promise where you say presidents already go get engagements where they don't promise for give prosthetic limbs them to salon. So now on which basis this get for come? What's in the agreement see?
Well, obviously, like I say, most of the discussions the president they get with organizations, them agency institutions, them for instance in this case as in MIT. Now, then choose Sierra Leone for me they can do the mobile clinic because they feel say Sierra Leone we don't do enough, and thankfully back also to Dr. David Senge, we play key role for putting it together. So part of what we don't discuss now for CC. They don't get express that interest. They say it can be the mobile clinic. So therefore, we they open now for say that transition they now into the mobile clinic where they come. And we know say with this far because remember say before now, Salon and MIT don't go into MOU, an agreement where they don't agree on how they cooperate. In fact, now then they make most times with the benefit because there's agreements already. So therefore, we look now for make we see now how they transition from the interest rate or express for make the Kana Salon.
So now when the interest expressed in the come now, when them for come?
Well, as a day now, they don't talk any specific time, but I will tell you say no more. Then self as a credible institution, they don't put out a press release, we don't go all over the place. Well, no, so now they go now start for work now with we people in this country now for see how they get the transition. But then when presidents also go, like you say, people it's fine for me to focus what in president they bring. So I go give another instance. So when presidents also go, they go meet with the World Bank president, David Malpass. You know, World Bank don't invest a lot in this country. They support we in terms of with budget support, they support the energy sector, they support we education sector, they support Boku in them. So part of what we also bring now that we are 13 bridges way, rural bridges the way, then we don't try to do visibility studies. So then we don't get money for 4 of those bridges then they. Now we don't go now they can add another 5, this IDA 19. where I think say important. Then they don't make commitments as well back say by IDA 20 winner probably next year. Then go also try for see how they go finance the 8 bridges where then it will cost about 50 million. But these are rural bridges. But the important thing that is that you get a president who don't inspire so much confidence in people who deal with Salone. Because you remember say before now, when you talk about World Bank, IMF, and those multilateral institutions, that before we can they left the country because of leadership will be there. But when President come, we don't able to gain that credibility back because they say I say he's sincere and genuine, and therefore they support him. It's the same thing for IMF, and also when President go back and meet with MCC. In fact, MCC was very interesting because we'll go now MCC, by the meeting with the acting CEO. In fact, he praised President because of his leadership. Because he said from when they start for develop this compact, they don't ever see country we don't get the kind speed and the kind team we them put together for made them for develop this compact. In fact, one of the ladies themselves will be there for the meeting. In fact, they say some countries the way them we don't even start this compact before now. They're jealous alone because of the kind speed way we don't try to push this person go before. Right. So in essence, they tell you say the president where he can go out. They engage in the case of Salone, and there are things that will come out very, very tangible. And I think, say, at some point in time back, I'm going to go inside some of the bilaterals the way all the different presidents.
When they come to that, Yusuf Keketoma Sandi, in the press sector in the State House, there this morning, they gave updates on President Bio in Wakawe, Jiskomodu, in the United States, who say he be attend the UN General Assembly.
The program Good Morning Salon, they continue. We still get Yusuf Keketoma Sandi at the studio this morning. They tell listeners them, but the work away the presidents just come on make na the United Nations. It be make speech na the UN General Assembly. We not come here to the speech where the president be make, but still they look at issues we get for do it bilateral meeting them where the president been get with other presidents them except for the executives them we been the na the United States. We they continue for look at the meetings them where the presidents be make. Before we be look at other issue, we don't begin to explain the different people and where the presidents be make. Now let's look at the meeting where the president been get with the acting CEO for the Millennium Challenge Corporation, when Mahmoud Ba, and inside that meeting, the acting CEO been described President Bio as champion for the fight against corruption. Now, waiting the president been tell him, or waiting have been the thing that way it talk, we make it describe President Bio as champion for fight against corruption.
Well, I think now just the evidence and the facts and how the president don't do from when the president take over as head of state of the country. Remember, say when the president take over, we corruption index by the MCC was around about in the 40s. Now we're in the 80s. So if you almost do then kind thing, then they way then kind jump, then they I think say anybody go call you champion. But also I think that the president inconsistency. Because you don't see, say, the president is very consistent in which he do, very consistent in which they say. And what you also understand that when they do the MCC scorecard, this that scorecard, like even the acting CEO say, not to just MCC the maker. They get their information from different independent and credible organizations and institutions them, where they go towards the scorecard. So when means say, you get people away, then get for do the research, get the facts, get the evidence, for make you rank person one carry. But I think because of what the president don't do in the fight against corruption, tremendously that kind jump the world don't jump. And I think say now something way believe say they call a champion for. But also I think the president also when he respond, and this is the important thing, now he say for he say in just to do the work where people elect him for. So in a take him as any special thing. Because for him, before he can have power, it campaign say where it come, it go fight corruption, and corruption now a war way go first and a war will go win. And therefore it don't become consistent on them. So therefore it tell and say that's going to be go for continue.
So that's not a confirmation, say the president satisfied with the strategies them way the ACC they use to fight corruption currently?
Well, obviously there are always going to be challenges in terms of anything you do. You know, because obviously when you fight corruption, president you always say corruption they fight back. Or when you fight corruption, you get challenges. There are sometimes people come and people and perspectives will be different in terms of how, for instance, Francis Kelfala go investigate for charge people. People go always get their own perspective. But I think what you get for understand the fact say the world knows say we don't move from USA Obede to USA Obede now. We're at Transparency International, we're at the Afrobarometer, the report, and no say we don't move. So therefore, that alone, we don't show say we determine, we're willing for make we fight corruption. Yes, when those challenges then come, we can always meet them. But I also think say because of you also get somebody like Francis and kind, we determine you get the kind caliber, you get the kind integrity for fight this corruption. Don't compliment the president. So therefore, anytime presidents go, we think say now accolade we go get. But also remember say we get a president where this fight where the fight against corruption. Now a fight way for him, he believes say because corruption gets so much impact on with development. And as a result of that, now make it prioritize corruption in addition to the HCD way it prioritize as an agenda.
All right, let me talk about a very important statement where the president will make part of in Waka, where get for do with the $500 where you see parents and they save now from the spending where normally them be done they do for them picking them na various schools them. And this may happen because of the free quality education program where president will they implement. What will be the yardstick where the president use for arrive at this conclusion, say parents and they save $500 from them picking their school expenditure?
Well, I think, you see, until we begin for look at free quality education out of politics, we're not going able to really get a matured and grown-up conversation around free quality education. Because there is no doubt, Dija, you know, say parents them don't save boku money from boku things them. As recent as scratch card, where they save 17 billion from parents them, you understand, across the country, where they try for access them picking in school them, you understand. Governments from more come, we don't spend billions. We have increased the education budgetary allocation to 22%. That's lots and lots of money. You understand? So whether parents they pay the lunch now in areas the way government they give lunch now, we're gonna the textbook and now, we're gonna the fees there now, we're gonna the bus there now where they picking them, because of the school bus now they pay reduced price, there are lots of savings. And because there are lots of those savings, it's always good and important say, if for instance you get 5 picking them, 5 picking they go to school, each of them picking them day. Let's say for instance you get for spend 1.5 million, 1.5 million for each of them picking a day, you understand? Or more, because of what in difficult education they do, you understand? You look at those savings as what it actually mean to you. How you go use that money now for make you able to make sure probably say you probably contribute to something else to the family.
I ask you the question, say waiting at the yardstick where the president use for arrive at this calculation of $500 because we look at this money for salon level na big money. And this particular year, now one of the year them way so many complaints and concerns come out from parents, and especially the one they waking gets new entry of them picking them way just maybe one go secondary school or senior secondary school. Complain of money where then they spend for let them picking them go na the school, even though government they implement the free quality education. Now one very huge. Some comrades even arrive at the conclusion say the free quality education no they really work for them picking them because in as much as government is responsible for books, school fees and other essential things then still they buy them in there so outside the $500 where them parents are they save, outside really they go, that's not be the question I ask.
So it gets saved from the many things that the government they do.
Many things like
for instance, I don't tell you say one from the fees the government they pay, and also government where you don't come they provide learning materials, textbook them for students, them for picking the way they go to school.
But comrades still they buy them in there.
Yes, but Dija, so you not go. So listen, when president gets the desire for put free quality education, he understands that there are going to be challenges. But you not go blame presidents for one teacher in a school where they give extra charge against parents them. And it is not also true for make you say parents them not they appreciate free quality education because they spend more money. There are challenges. Like president even kind of station, I don't tell you say there are challenges. Are there things that we can do better? Are there things that I make, for instance, we try for make sure say all those challenges then they will get discussions around them. You understand? But then that not for me say if we stop president for the way no one do. Now simple thing like this. It not necessarily means that because you're afraid for the accident, you don't go drive. You go still drive.
So it's all waiting they happen at the education sector. This $500 where the president say come and they save. You really think say realistic?
Of course, it's very realistic. Why not? I don't tell you say a simple thing like from scratch card. Parents them across the country they save like 17 billion from scratch card. That is way more than $500. What you would say is simply this. Like I said, the initial point, the initial point is until we begin to get a conversation around free education, we're not going to do anything to politics. We go do injustice to free education. Because there is no way on earth way from where government don't come. Where don't put free education. Parents don't save boku money. Boku money.
So in as much as you don't explain about the scratch card, the core textbook or the president in delivery team, well, we call them the government, as a whole, they provide core textbook for picking where the government school and also the school feeding where they go on some areas them. The concern where the citizens and don't they express get for do it, how the president in team able for quantify, say, then expenditure than the equivalent to $500. How on a reach to that exact amount?
So I don't tell you say again for do it waiting governments they do. Okay? Now governments they do boku thing them for free education. They get boku components. And again tell you say one of the components now the fees they will pay. We get for do it even including traditional fees the way government they pay for picking away a seat where na beke or wask. But what tell you say back transportation cost they parents them back there for the safe back pass so the way government they do by feeding.
Ask parents them waiting them don't they spend we make una able to know say parents and able save now $500 now survey una do how una able for reach to that figure.
Now government they spend money, Mabel. Let's say you know the head of your family. Now you they give money. Now you they give the amount of money where they cook in a house. You got for do survey for tell you where for tell you say and now this money you give because now government they take care of the picking at school.
Case they way like somebody they pull chop money.
But no,
this year for do with the parents. And when I don't go give account say then parents here they save $500. So they want for know how on a reach to the conclusion for no saying that then they save. You
reach at the conclusion by waiting government they spend. It's as simple as that. So let me tell you say until we get a grown-up conversation around free quality education, we're not going to do it anything with politics,
so how politics
cynicism.
Come into this conversation?
No, I come because remember say when presidents make that statement there that the opposition people and force begin scatter the video, you understand? And it's sad. And the reason why it's sad is because when presidents
say opposition people
with their social media or the Facebook box na my friend box na APC man he share the video na Facebook.
The presidents make to the world.
No, I tell you say okay. So I tell you say until we begin get grown up conversation, we're not therefore do with cynicism.
So
politics.
If citizens then begin ask question or try for all the presidents accountable of statements the way they make. Maybe bring out videos according to you na social media, how that link to being political.
Because you ask me question 5 times, I give the same 5 answer. You tell me say how we arrive at this, what you look at. I tell you say, now the things that the government don't provide, whether it come from, for instance, the fees that the government they pay, the traditional exams that the government they pay, we're gonna in areas the way government get for make sure say they provide school feeding, we're gonna in areas the way for instance in terms of transportation, right. And as recent as probably for instance this scratch card we government do. So all of those costs take into consideration. Right. You don't ask me 5 I don't give the same 5 answers.
Between the studio, Yusuf Keketoma Sandi, press secretary in State House.
The program na Good Morning Salon and it come to you from the Society for Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. Where they been the program come to you this Monday morning. My name na Khadija Bangura.
And Mabel Kaba.
We still get the press secretary in State House with we, Yusuf Keketoma Sandi, as we talk about different in them way be happen na the United States where the president just come out, usai be attend the UN General Assembly, usai make statements them for sake the people in a salon, and self it be all different town hall meeting them with salon people them na the United States. Mr. Sandila take you to another issue where be happen, usai we see videos and pictures them of some salon people them where been go meet the president and cheer him up the day where if we make statements at the UN General Assembly. Then people and they be wear t-shirts them we been get what they be right Mother Bill 2024. And now one of the issues then they we been spark a lot of debates among salon people them, especially the one them where they use the social media. What in the president be make up of this particular t-shirt where you see in people them now the United States been wear in name day and the right say 2024?
Well, I guess if you do good work, Dija, somebody want to say thank you, auto crime may commit. So I think remember we get people in the diaspora we don't also the follow up with the president they do. With the good work of president of this country, they follow up in terms of free quality education, in terms of how president they make sure that they put we now the global leadership in terms of how president they advocate, what the president do in terms of the macroeconomics on the ground. So I think them people in the diaspora, but yes, they also they contribute because most of them they send things there for them people them. Most of them, for instance, if person in America, money will be send to, for instance, a sister or a brother because of free education now it is save them. Sometimes if you get people away, they take you off in a school. President don't do the free education now they save them money in there. So they also you look at president in terms of a progressive agenda. You know, we don't repeal the seditious libel law. We don't try for abolish death penalty. We try now for putting a parliament the gender bill. So boku things the president don't do. So then people then see say this man na good man for this country. Now my we sincere and now my one for do good work. So therefore now I make when presidents go, then go there, then boku we then go tell president thank you. Now we know say before now we always we party them, we on the other side, the APC the way then say can go, you know, because that's how democracy day. Democracy is a good thing. If finally other person back like say, oh, you do boku thing, but this year.
So whose message where that t-shirt they be the try for send?
No, but this year, we party them the APC themselves no say president don't do well. So this year they not go now the UN for go do what they do because that's why I realize say this president they don't move this country forward. So na simple message, now a message of gratitude, a message of thanks, and a message of appreciation. So I ask you a simple question: if you don't do good work, somebody come to you, Dija, and print t-shirts for you and they say, hey, Dija, thank you for the work you don't do. You go vex or you don't go vex?
So the president they ask what in the 2024 mean?
Well, I guess I feel say when we there under, if somebody put 2024, 2025 or anything, I feel say that the person are your right for me expressing self. And I think say this na democracy we only practice. If somebody can say 2026, that the person right.
Now the person in right. But since we get you now the studio today and you they talk for the president, speculations don't they around them t-shirts there and people don't they tie them around it gets for do with the 2023 elections. And we don't they see some salon people them we go cheer up the president at the UN. They talk about 2024. It gets anything for do with elections?
No, you're not getting nothing. Like I say, are the people in right for express themselves out of expresser. So if somebody says 2010 and 2026, are the person right? Now, I know I'm going to the debate and the question where you were asked about elections. The reason being is because we remember I said before now, the NEC people then go to State House and then go present the timetable. Then go present how the election calendar they go. And that election day, it was made clear, say, we will, by the neck, then calendar and the timetable they propose, we get for election 2023. So therefore, I think, say, that position not change, and that position I will go with. But like I say, if somebody wear t-shirt and put 2024, 2025, are the person right, or for respect that right say.
Alright, so let me go back to the issue we get for do with the proposal, where the one pan the proposals, them where the presidents be make na the UN General Assembly, the thing where been talk about. You will be make mention earlier of one panel we get for do with justice for survivors of sexual and gender-based violence. Now, waiting the president's been present to the world, we make it a push for this particular agenda.
Well, like I say, part of what president don't do, you know, we don't get so much praise internationally. Now, a president, people say very progressive. And being progressive simply means, say, one of the things the way you don't try for do, that for make it look at people away, ordinarily, you would think that they are disadvantaged. So we're gonna woman them, young people away, not picking them, for make you see how they provide the regulatory framework. make you they use the law for protect them, for make you they use how they use government policies for support them. But now we remember say president do boku work for women them and picking them at this country, girl picking them. We're gonna the sexual model court, we're gonna the new law where them put, you know, for rape and all that kind of thing. They don't do boku in them. The one-stop centers boku in them now. The president want to take up internationally. So now I make the president now, they move this agenda, Salon move this agenda for make sure say people in way na survivors of sexual violence and rape then forget access to justice. And you know, for the very first time in the history of UN, this agenda item now, where Salon push forward, 193 countries support Salon unanimously. So it tell you two things. It tell you say one, Salon now they lead at the front on global issues. And countries them, whether UK, France, boku big countries now, they look at this small country and say, this country is very inspiring. Then get a leader with very inspiring for support them. But also over and beyond that, it means say now, if anybody want to go any resolution at UN now, we got for do with access to justice for survivors of sexual violence, you get Salon the approval for make you put that resolution there. So it means say Salon now we now big player within the UN. And I think say that day that's something we forgive you all respect and forgive you all the kind status we look say. We look at the president, we say no, thank you very much, Mr. President, for putting we so high. But most importantly, this is something we're very passionate about. Because we serve this country, we know say people away then are victims of sexual violence and rape, then get issues with injustice. You know, whether at the court. But for me, presidents can through the sexual model court, it don't do a lot for the trials, them speedy trials, and also in terms of the punishment, you know, for some people in life imprisonment. So you don't do boku in them. So at home and abroad, president now is being seen as champion for people that actually we need voice for justice for sexual violence.
The president in Waka, according to you, na a way of rebranding Sierra Leone again na the international realm, and he meets with different people them where according to you, some of them meeting there so get for bring significant change na Salon. Uswan Pandey go able for say immediately when the president will return back, governments go do follow up on some of them meetings, then the way we get to them people there. So where Salon people and go really see say yes, this waka will presidents be make now with this particular benefits to the country.
Well, I don't tell you first say the first thing obviously at the World Bank meeting with David Malpass, the president. I tell you say World Bank they don't make commitments for do bridges them. They don't do 4 now. Then they can add 1 per this year where they come. But also next year they make commitments for spend money for the IDA 20 for make them do the 8 bridges there on a commitment. But also school feeding back. Obviously they get grants. The GPE back as well. Now Salon don't become eligible for almost 40 million, you know, US dollar for the Global Partnership for Education. We 24 million roundabout that day. We Salon able guarantee now. Who's Salon get access to that money now about 24 million. But also then get all that 50 million away. If you get the private sector where you invest, then go to GP, go to match that money they back. What I think say important. But also president all that important meeting. He all meeting with the president of Vietnam. What I think say be important. It's important for 2 reasons. Because Vietnam na the 5th largest rice producing country and the 2nd largest rice exporter in 2021. So presidents look at Vietnam because of the story where they get country being a war, they don't transition now, you know, the country don't really move forward. Because Vietnam they do so well in agriculture, presidents engage back the Vietnamese president. And in that meeting it was so great. The president said, don't hear boku to a president do. You know, so it was a meeting of the minds. In fact, he formally invite him, say make president go Vietnam, for make go learn experience on how Vietnam transition for make them be this country and one of the poorest countries in the world to a country now we don't do before agriculture business. So I think that is very, very, very important. What I think say, even if you not can immediately, but these are strategic bilateral relations the way they build. Where they able to put you in place to make sure say, because remember say part of what you want to do now for prioritize agriculture. So if you get a country who don't get proven record of how agriculture don't turn them country, and I think so a country down the way you're in for able to get strength in relationship. Continue. So I think that's a very important meeting.
Continue for the way to the studio. Yusuf Keketoma Sandi, press secretary in the State House. Will they come back to you? All right, we continue the program. Good morning, Salon, where they come to you from the Society for Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. Una don dey send una text messages them, and we go look at some of una messages there now. As later on, the press secretary in the State House, Yusuf Keketoma Sandi, go respond to some of the messages them where una don send inside the program. The first one where they read, they say paying school fees and exams fees for primary and secondary school people is not new. It's been happening since the days of Bakaba. The fact that Keketoma himself is unable to justify that parents saving $500 statement rings a bell.
This other message say, good morning, Radio D. It's rather unfortunate that national conversations degenerate to partisan discussions. Every citizen has the right to request clarifications and explanations on actions and activities of every public officials because you are acting on our behalf. Public officials need to rise above the partisan thinking because even an opposition member is a citizen and should question actions. They come out from Val.
This one, they say, please, 98.1, my daughter scored 347 in the NPSC for the annual Memorial School, and we spent over 1,500,000. So where is the free education? It come out from Alina Freeton.
Spark Pin on Facebook, it says, Keketoma, this government has done much of word speaking for development. We want to see things in reality now, especially in agriculture. Not forgetting the bread and butter issue also. Mind you, 2023 is just around the corner.
This one, they say, please ask Keketoma, when was the last time President Bill used a commercial flight? When we have seen him using private flights the last time he went to the UK, Turkey, and recently the US. They've been telling us about investors since 2018, and they have nothing to show.
All right. The final one we go look at this time, it said it gets to do with the paramount chief, the induction. The person says organizing an induction training for paramount chiefs is good, but just that the Ministry of Local Government should try to organize election for chiefdoms which are still without paramount chiefs, especially Sanda Mabolonto chiefdom.
All right, from their messages then they can now to Yusuf Keketoma Sandi, when at the press secretary in the State House for respond.
Well, I want to tell Fambul and Tenki, we obviously make them contribution to the program. Like the reason why are there because we feel this now about democratic accountability. When I elect presidents for the office, for serve for 5 term, president in turn appoint we with a work for the government, and I feel we get a duty and obligation as servant of UNA for make with the kind inform UNA on what president they do. So I think important to make that into context because in most of the time we will get discussions them on around several issues. Obviously, politics will come inside there. But the one person talk about a fine like even opposition and say get rights for make the question. Of course, this is a democracy. Everybody get rights, everybody get voice, and everybody have voice will be heard. But what normal they say is that when a president like the one who gets the kind desire, the kind mind for put this kind of project where they spend when agriculture education where they spend 22% of a budget. This is not mine because this is not huge money. We spend billions in education, So for make we able understand this, we get for able to get discussion around it. Yes, there are challenges like this. We talk about annual in Peking. There are challenges. President even talk away the 98.1. So there are challenges, but the question where we all for ask ourselves, what thing government will do for address those challenges? And we feel the good thing we get a minister for basic education where they up to the task, where they follow up on these issues, and where they make sure when and how it arise, obviously we say evidence then if they report them to the ministry, I think they will take actions. And I feel we all get to be watchman for the free quality education program. Because for make it succeed, for make it better, we all for make sure we safe for protect them, for be watchman. Because when presidents implement the free quality education, whether the person APCO, NGCO, whether they Makeni or they Kabbalah, you still get right for benefits from that one day. So go for look beyond the politics. Person also talk about sometimes the president they go when last president go with commercial flight. Well, I don't give you an instance. Say when we just come on a commercial flight and president use, but it only stop there. In fact, there are times where even presidents want travel, like for instance, who want to go ECOWAS. In fact, as recent as where we even going to Ghana, because presidents are fiscally disciplined. We want going to Ghana for go for this recent ECOWAS go on the Guinea issue. If I'm a colleague, we na Ghana, we na head of state, now able call it, talk to, now send for in private jet we go with. We make sure they not spend nothing. So all the things that happen at president, inconvenience. Because imagine now, me and you, na colleague that you say, hey, Mabel, lend me your car for make I go so it happen at an inconvenience. But the fact of the matter is, it they do them because it no say it they save boku money in our country. Who say obviously they're not applicable, we could definitely use other means.
So not save any money from this trip where the president use commercial flight?
Yeah, but of course. I mean, if you take private jets for going to UN, you spend nothing less than over $100,000.
So it's on a budget. What's on a budget for this trip?
What's your budget for this trip? I'm not going to because I'm to the finance man.
But
if you get the finance people, and they go tell you that one day. But all I say is,
Mr. Sandi, if you they talk for the president and some questions them we get for do with corporate business, financial prudence in a one way presidents build on they talk about, you go find let the public know say we president na this na be the budget where he walk around for go represent Salon at the UN General Assembly.
Yeah, but also don't tell you say I know the can give figures they want not sabi or figures they want not know or we are not aware about. I they tell you say president save for going to UN because he take a commercial flight.
So almost not
and he do them at your inconvenience.
almost not save.
Where the fact of the matter, normally if you take a private flight for going inside, it will be over $100,000. So therefore, you save over $100,000. It's as simple as that, But the point is, I tell you, say most of them say the president do at your inconvenience because, like I even give on the issue of the ECOWAS or go to Ghana on the Guinea issue. You understand? Rather than for make president to go take private jet and private plane for make go. Now in colleague na Ghana and the president Kufona send for him jet we can go there. So it tell you say this not somebody we care. Not only about the people, but also care about how they spend the people and money.
Another issue again, where don't they be challenged? Are the issues them we get for do with peace, national cohesion, and try for break the divide. Where some people believe say they na Salon, especially among cities in them. Some of them divide they get for do with regional politics or ethnics. And one day way. You talk to certain people and go one say now some challenge. And where the president's gonna do US, a old town hall meeting with Salon people them where they the diaspora. What are some of the messages them where the presidents be able for talk for encourage Salon people or in the diaspora because everybody know the politics where they among Salon people in the diaspora, especially when it come na the social media. How the president be able for preach about national cohesion for less Salon people and series and say everybody for come on board, especially the other the diaspora and come develop the country.
Thank you very much, Lija, for that question. In fact, for the very first time, President participates for a virtual session for Engaged Diaspora, where we get, close to 300 people we connect from different states. Now, what do you mean? It mean two things. It means, firstly, people really care about what's happening in a salon. So they want for know, regardless of the politics. Because I know say, but people log on with APC, NGC, but then just want to know what's in the happen and get a chance for asking question. But also, secondly, the fact that you also get a president way, every time when they travel, they make them a priority for engage the diaspora. It mean and tell you say, this the president way feel and know say, diaspora still get a role for playing now national development. So part of his messaging now around what he don't do so far in terms of the 3 years, in terms of the human capital development, in terms of the progressive agenda, in terms of the seditious liability bill, in terms of the gender bill, in terms of the abolition of death penalty, and most of the reforms the way we undertake, because at the end of the day, like I always say, when presidents always done they say, now one salary get, whether you're SLP or APC, if they elect somebody at a point in time for lead, that person need to get world support. And that was one thing we come out from the virtual meeting. That everybody recognize, say, yes, Salon don't move forward. And this is not president's way sincere. Yes, there are challenges where COVID don't carry it. But despite that, the president they do the best way he can for make sure, say, we rebrand we country internationally and locally for make sure, say, again, we put things there in place with the better people in life.
So as we wrap up the program now, I'll take you back to the issue we get for do with the the way how some set of people in the diaspora been welcome the president with the t-shirts we been get Marabio 2024. As we wrap up the program for the sake of peace and democracy in a salon, how this different from the t-shirts where this administration been frowned at the time where the past administration been there, where they be right more time for ex-president Koroma. How it different?
So the one clarification is this t-shirt the way they make, not to government give money, make they make those t-shirts.
Not to government been give
exactly.
money for that one day the last
So
time.
therefore, so like I say, I no one get dragged into a question of when are the elections. Because I don't say when NEC go State House, go present and timetable, it was very clear, say, we get election in 2023. And President is very clear about that day. Because let me tell you, DJ and Mabel, where person don't do good work, we don't do good work, and confident about himself. He want for go to the people and for make people and go give a mandate for make continue that good work there. So President be clear about the elections when they happen, you know. But I don't tell you again, how people will express themselves. And then writes that one day. So if somebody
so why at that time this administration waiting to be the front of them people where they want for express themselves at that time say they want more time for their young president.
So the difference is this time around where people do their t-shirt, whether 2024, 2025, president no they give any statement or need to give any indication for sure say if they support them kind of thing and they.
So you don't think
but before now
address them. Now that particular place they for say this 2024 on right is not for President Bio. Midterm they done 2023.
Yeah, but maybe President talk and boku.
No, the same way it happened at the ass.
Yes, but I don't talk and boku them. It is on record. We don't do anything. So the difference, like I said, the difference is before now when people say when the people they put each other for third term. The former president obviously they mobilize people for the third term.
How you go prove that? You get any evidence of
yes,
that?
they take people support artists them, boku people go na Makeni, go na
apart from the t-shirt.
You understand?
Apart from the t-shirt, just like we they say before now, the same dancing beat batter outside the UN. And where be they happen now? One day way, then 10 the way presidents be the opposition. The opposition be they come out and condemn some of them things then they. But the same thing we see it happen. Now the UN say presidents be just come out and presidents be have been join the people as salon people for talk to them. And some of them things they are where it be they condemn. You know able for come out and tell them they don't think they are not right. You know supposed to happen.
DJ, I don't know what now your evidence say presidents condemn people away be they go out they go glad for honest. Like I say, president now somebody will believe for respect people are human rights. You understand? So whether you be glad for former presidents Koma or you glad for that people are rights, but they express them. Right. The only difference is we own president when it don't work, a confident say 2023 will get elections. Before now, where you get the former president, him they try for mobilizing people and money for third time. We own president will go do that one day.
Many thanks for joining at the program this morning. Yusuf Keketoma Sandi, press secretary in State House. Many thanks for coming at the studio and this edition of the program. Good morning, Salon Go Left Una. Plenty thank you to the production team. Michael Sambola and Alex Lorenz Kuruma produced the program. DJ Lava give you technical support. And also Moses Kavra and Usman Kama make una see live on Facebook. And also many thanks to Clifford Walker, DJ Cliff for the support we give to the technical team. So to meet again, Meven Kabade say goodbye.
And Mina Karija Bangare say have a nice day.